and I haven't got my hands on one of them yet, but I probably will. But these are it's. I mean, of the I'm not a huge effects user, surprisingly enough, in my playing. I don't use a ton of different stuff, but phasing is something I use a lot of.
Kind of interesting. When I was playing a lot more, I wanted one of the like a phaser pedal that did that so badly. And I had one of the first pedals I ever bought ever when I was 15 or 16 or something was a Boss PH3, the phase shifter,
Yeah.
and
No,
it had an expression jack in it, so you could hook up an expression pedal to control the rate of the
yep.
LFO. And I thought that was really cool, but what I really wanted was a phaser that you could use the treadle to control like the where you're at in the sweep instead of using it like an LFO. So you could use a phaser like it was a wah, and nobody makes a pedal like that. So put that on
No.
your put that on your design table. Make me one.
Mm-mm. Yeah, you got me thinking already. That's an interesting
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
one of the
so. You know.
one of the guys that I've made a couple of these for. It's interesting when I describe this pedal to people, I get two reactions. One of them is just like that RCA dog looking in the speaker, the cocked like, why would you do that, and then the other one is I can see the guitar player putting it to use in his head before I've even finished talking about it. And those are the guys that say, I'll give you money, right? And I'll tell you what, I had one of these on my board for a while because I was just making it for myself. I wasn't really thinking out, beyond that. And every time I would finish one and somebody would come by to pick up their guitar and I'd plug them into my rig so they could test their guitar out. And they go, well, why do you have two wahs? And I'm like, oh, well, that's a phaser. And they turn it on and they're like, I want one, and I'm like, oh, it's going to take me a while to build another one. And they're just like, I'll buy that one. How much is that one? And they just start counting out money. And I'm like, okay, okay, take it, take it. I'll make another one.
Yeah.
So
One of
for
the
the longest time, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the coolest pedals I ever owned was these kind of like hybrid sort of pedals like that. Is trying to remember exactly what it was called. It was a Dunlop pedal. It was a purple pedal, and the treadle was like silver, and it was called the Tremolo Volume Plus, I think. It had a couple
Mm,
toe
mm,
switches at the bottom and a couple of knobs at the top, and basically it was a. I mean, it made sense to me, right? Tremolo and volume, it's the same effect. It's like one has an LFO and one uses a treadle, right?
mm,
It's kind of like the difference between a wah and an auto wah, except you're controlling volume, right? And so you could use it like a volume pedal, which was neat because I didn't have a volume pedal at the time, and I liked doing the like combining with the delay and some other stuff and doing like the swells and stuff. I was playing a lot of Incubus covers when I had this thing, and or you could flip the toe switch and it just turned into a tremolo, but the rate of the tremolo you control with the treadle instead of with a knob, right? And it was a really cool pedal, and I got it on eBay, I think. And I remember I was struggling with money, and I was like, this pedal's worth a bit of money. I could actually get out of it what I paid for it, and but I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell it. And then I found a guy, I think it was on the Warmouth forums, years ago. He was like, "Hey, everyone, check out my pedal collection." And he was like, he's one of these guys like, what's his bucket from JHS Pedals, Josh, right? He's got like a
oh yeah.
room that's nothing but guitar pedals, and I'm like, "Do you have this one?" He's like, "I don't have that one." I was like, "Do you want it for your collection?" He's like, "Yup." So I sold it to a guy who I know appreciated it, which made me really happy because it was kind of a rare pedal. But it was cool. I always loved that kind of like weird out of the box thinking, especially from a company like Dunlop, which is kind of like they're pretty par for the course, especially today. They don't. A lot of these guys don't do a lot of like weird sort of one-off kind of production runs of these sorts of things. And
I think that's probably the biggest change in the pedal industry overall of the past like 20 years that I've noticed is that the companies have started to really pay attention to what their customers are saying. And they used to just not care and just say, you'll take what we give you, you know? And And now it really seems like they are paying attention to that feedback and altering what they're making to, you know, to coincide with what people are asking for, which is good business in my opinion. Um, but I think that the interaction and maybe the internet has a great deal to do with that as well, because the information flows so much quicker. But I think that's a super positive thing.